some of the worst years of my life started with decisions that I was really proud to make at the time, that I even thought would bring me success, would bring me joy, would help me move in my life. And, some of them cost me a lot, particularly mental health, confidence, sometimes entire versions of myself I had to go rebuild because they got, knocked out completely, sometimes finances. And as I'm looking back towards my journey, because I'm turning 40 soon, and I'm looking back of how did I end up where I am today, and my entire journey. I'm actually not regretting them, because I feel that they shaped me in ways that I'm actually proud about right now. I can say that some of these decisions led me to think differently about life, to be a different person, and it was for the better, even though it was painful at the time. And some of these pieces also of decisions I made helped me create a path where I feel that life is going a little bit better, or it's going towards higher quality than what I could have had if I had not made these mistakes to begin with. And I feel this is sometimes we don't always celebrate. We sometimes, celebrate the wins or the better decisions, but the bad decisions you make, or like bad in the sense that they lead you to outcomes that you are not expecting, that are not necessarily pleasant, and you have to figure things out, and sometimes they are very painful. All these bad decisions are still worth looking at and celebrating as well, because you can learn a lot from them. That's what I've done, at least. And so this video today is a story time for the worst moments of my life. Enjoy. It's going to be a very interesting video, but I also want you to give you permission, if you are watching this video, to also think back about your own life and the step that led you there, and go celebrate all of this, the good and the bad, because I feel we sometimes forget how far we've come, and all the possibilities that we've created by still taking steps. And if you feel that you are a little bit stuck, or not going in the right direction, just take the time to look back and celebrate yourself a little bit more. But yes, story time. So let's go. I'll try to do this in a chronological order. So I think my first big mistake was to do a PhD in chemistry after doing a master. So this was my background. I was a scientist. I've always been very good at, physics, mathematics, chemistry at school. And, when I was looking for work after my master, I was like, actually, I want to do a PhD. And I wanted to do a PhD abroad. I wanted to do a PhD that was industrial as well, because I wanted to already have some commercial mindset. So I was really determined that the next step, the right next step for me, was supposed to be a PhD. And at the time, I did not really think it through. I did not really ask myself why I wanted that. I think it's just the logical path when you've been working in science, is the next step is that. And I was really lucky because I got a PhD, which was a Marie Curie fellowship. So it's an European PhD where you get very well paid. And my placement was in an organization, like in a commercial organization, very huge organization. That actually I was like, yes, I've ticked all the boxes. It was in the Netherlands. So I was like, yes, I'm moving out of France. And it was like, I was really happy with that. I was like, okay, it was hard for me to be unemployed for a while to find this PhD. But when I got it, I was like, yes, I've succeeded there. This is the best possible thing. And it did not last very long, as you can imagine, because it was at the end a bad decision. But I started burning out in the first few months, because I realized that actually I did not really like what I was doing. I think that was the main thing. I had a hard time adapting to the Netherlands as well initially, because it was one of the first experience, complete expatriation. So it was I had things to figure out on the way, but also like the topic, I was like not really passionate about it. The manager was not really great. He was not very present. He was just like, you do whatever you want. I ended up in a kind of weird place where what I was doing in the PhD was not what the organization was doing itself. And I was also combined with the university in the same location. And it's so in the university, the department I was part of was not doing the same thing at all. So I really felt like I had a kind of my own project that nobody really cared about, nobody could really help with. And I had to be resourceful to find the pieces, like, oh, I can use this equipment there, or I can ask this person about that specific question, but about nothing else. And I really felt like it was a lot of resourcefulness on my side to be able to get this through, to just just be able to survive it. So I had a burnout at the first year, unfortunately. That led me to like really low, really low. That led me to also like kind of reconsider what I was doing, and then I decided to continue it and finish it, which took 3 more years. And it was a rough patch, because I don't really feel the purpose doing that. I was also comparing myself all the time with the other scientists, and they are always, super passionate about their topic, and they can have like very intellectual conversations about it. And I was like, that is so boring to me. Or it's like, yeah, I do this at work, but then I don't want to talk about it too much. I just want to get it done. And yeah, it really made me feel that I was not passionate enough about this, and that therefore it was wrong for me to do that. And there were perks, like for instance, I was very well paid. It was my first, as I mentioned, first experience abroad, so I was also able to start training the muscles of being an expatriate, and it was also the kickstart of my freedom because. Yeah, I was moving out of France for the first time. I was also starting to build financial safety because the job was well paid. So I was able to really start, feeling that I was a grown-up, basically. So there were some perks here, but that I would say, like, one of the lessons I took from that is that, like, passion is really important to me. I need to find something that I'm really more interested in, like something I want to talk about all the time. That is something that was missing for me. And I also want something where people actually care. Like if I do the work, it needs to matter for somebody. There need to be like real consequences, real product being developed, something that is actually tangible result that I can see physically, and I can say, because I worked so hard, this is what I created. I feel this was the first realization of what I need in terms of type of work that can keep me engaged a lot. And yeah, so that's the first mistake. So thinking very hard that I had found the best position possible, and then getting completely disillusioned and coming out of it. I did finish it at the end of the day. It even took like an extra year because I had to do more publications. So I was already working another job, and I have to come back to the PhD, and I was really like grinding my teeth and like finish this thing. But anyway, I did finish it. I had a diploma, and I think I proved to myself that I was very resilient, very capable of being resourceful, and also I learned something about what I need to be happier in a job, and it gave me a different direction when I was applying for future roles. That brings me to another future role I did after that, not directly after, but after that, which was to work towards sales and towards becoming an account manager. Because I thought, okay, science I can do, but it's not so interesting for me. And I really, as I mentioned, I really wanted this tangible impact. I was like, sales is probably better because if you're not doing your job, there is no sales. You failed. That there is like an obvious proof. Or if you did your job, there is money. You can prove that you've done the work, and that is directly linked to your effort. So there was this kind of logical thing here, and I took this role, which was account manager trainee. So it was actually way less senior than what I was doing before. So there was a pay cut, and the job was really junior. And it was training. So I was going to different departments every 3 to 6 months. I was moving around and having to learn more about the product, about the company, and the things like this. And first of all, there was a lot of wrong culture there. There was a lot of difficulty in that organization. That was an organization that, people were leaving all the time, and you could feel that everybody kind of hated each other, or everybody was protecting their own back, and talking particularly in terms of salespeople. Everybody, technical, marketing, production, operation, were always talking beyond the back of the salespeople, and in front of me, and I was like, I'm supposed to be one in the future. What are you doing? And it's like, you could just train me differently because I'm here to learn from you. So tell me what you need and tell me how we can work together better in the future. And then I'm going to be a great account manager, and then you will be happy with me. But no, instead they were busy, being people who are like, yeah, just the wrong culture overall, and kind of like a dying organization where you feel that everything is so fragile that things can be closed at any point, and therefore people are not very happy there. There was also a lot of junior frustration. I think I regretted taking this role simply because the job was not challenging at all. Like I was capable of, going to work at 8 a.m., finish at 4 p.m., feel good about it, not have any stress, which was, it was great. It was kind of a break in my career, and I was still delivering what people needed. But it was also very junior. You always have to kind of like prove that you can do more, and you have to go and grab from work. And it was very, yeah, I felt that it was not representative of the skill that I already have at the time, and yeah, this was hard to navigate as a person and feel confident because you're basically not doing things that are interesting. Even sales, I was not doing that much. I was just following people who were more senior doing that, so there was not a lot of practice on that aspect, and yeah, it was a bit strange. And they also did not have a plan for what happens when the program is finished, which was two and a half years in a junior position, and I was like, okay, maybe a little bit more thinking would have been helpful there. There was also a lot of discussions around being an introvert, and I remember in the interview I asked the manager, who was a very, very strong extrovert, I was a bit worried about this behavior. So I was like, okay, how do you handle salespeople who are more introverted? And then, he was giving me, oh, there is this person and she's doing a great job and she's amazing at it. So I was like, okay, he's very extroverted, but he can handle introvert people. Great. And then 1 year later, he tried to give me feedback, never having really worked with me because I was always in different departments. And the feedback was all about that. It's like, oh, but you're an introvert. You need to learn how to be more extroverted. This are how these other extroverted sales manager are doing their role. So you need to do this as well. And it's like, it's just a lot of like, you have nothing to say, but you are pinpointing on one thing that is actually normal nature. And by the way, I'm not introvert, I'm autistic, so it's a different different problem. But yeah, it was really like just a lot of frustration. Like I really felt that I kind of lost confidence, so I was not really used in the best possible way where I could have actually added value. And one of the things that I also realized is that I was not interested in selling things. Specifically this, because I was working in an organization that sells flavors. And I realized if I really want to sell something, I need to believe in it. I cannot sell random products for random people who I don't really enjoy working with. It needs to be something that I really care about, and I can go out there and talk about it with authenticity, and there will be, it will just be like natural flow, and I don't need to lie, I don't need to manipulate, because I really believe in it. There will still be a bit of persuasion to train, and I need to train some communication skills there, but there will be like an engagement natural for. And with that specifically, I did not really feel this at all. So that was also another sign that I've learned about, knowing that I need something. If I'm working on something for purpose, I need to feel that what I'm selling is interesting. And I think overall this experience, again, was not being too bad. So I was still able to save some money, which was helpful when I opened the business later. It sent me to live in different countries. So I lived in the UK, I lived in Belgium, I lived in Italy. So I had a bit of paid travel basically, which was very good as well. I learned different languages and stuff like this. So there was like some perks. But I would say I regret making this decision because I underestimated all the skills that I already have that could have been already used for a more senior role, and just go for it with more confidence, I think would have been helpful because, yeah, I was not junior and I've never been, and I have all the skills. And I feel also I was trying to challenge myself to do something that is closer from the impact, but actually sales is not the thing for me. And I was, trying to fit in that role and trying to imagine what it could be, but I don't think I've really thought it through about what it actually means on a daily basis, and all the, all the exhaustion that you can get from trying to sell a product that you don't really care about. So yeah, I think looking back, I would have done differently. I would have maybe taken another position, or just go for sales directly, rather than assuming that I could not do it, so that I could have learned and fail faster, and then I would have not spent 2.5 years there. But yeah, so that was like mistakes of not necessarily listening to myself or trying to fit myself in different identities, which I think would have been closer from what I was looking for, which is this more direct impact. And then I went in business. That's mistake number 3. Well, not mistake, but I went in business because at the end of this training program, there was no purpose for me. There was no goal. There was no plan for where I was going to be put, and the people did not really care about me. So I was like, okay, I have this new idea about doing coaching. Let me go into the business, and that is at the same time one of the best decisions of my life, but also one of them where I could have done things differently as well. It was obviously a great decision because I really enjoy entrepreneurship. It gave me a lot of freedom. I discovered coaching, which coaching is definitely more purposeful. People care when they pay you. They want results. So you and the clients are really both involved in actually creating something meaningful. There is a direct impact because if you're a coach and you're doing your job really well, then your clients are going to get results and the people around them are going to get results. Like there is so much, so much joy in this process. So that was ticking all the things that I've learned before. The culture is okay because it's just me, so I can define whatever I want, and I'm passionate about it. I can dive into personal developments for hours and hours. Now, is it well paid? Not directly. Is it creating financial safety issues? Yes. So I think it's been creating a lot of backlog on finances recently. But also, I think the biggest mistake I made was on the first year to be a little bit too confident about it. To think that, okay, I've never done business before, but I have been in a role where I was going through each department of an organization, so I understand how business functions. I've done the different roles, so I understand how the different roles function. And also, I'm a very smart person. I've always figured things out. I'm very courageous. I'm bold. I can do things. So, let's just go for it. And this was really nice. I have the discipline, it really helps. But I look back and I'm like, okay, actually, I was not ready for it. I did not think about finances before I left. I just went for it. I did not really also think about what could be the places where I did not really know anything about business. Like, for instance, how to handle finances in a way that is disconnected from you rather than having your businesses merged with your personal finances. Marketing and all these things I was learning as I go, but even there, I could have paused and say, okay, what do I really need to do right now in that first 6 months, and then what do I need to do next? So I was not really thinking about the business at which stage I was. I was already thinking for in 2 years when I'm successful, this is the strategy and the system I need. So I was not thinking about the real problem I had to solve. I was kind of like backing down from that. And I feel I also did not have enough support in general. I had a few, like I did some group coaching. I had a mentor, a mastermind I was part of, a few people I was connecting with, but I feel I did not have like regular people who could really support me, who could really act as a thought partner or like challenge me or tell me, hey, actually, there you have a blind spot and you don't see what's going on. I think I did not really surround myself with the right people to begin with. And this is something I would do differently if I go again in business. I really want to have this kind of support system or like people who can give me honest feedback and I can give them honest feedback. But there is some kind of like real support and yeah, just in general, be better at asking for help or being able to say, okay, I'm very intelligent, I'm very smart, I'm very disciplined, and I still need to learn, and there is probably a smarter way to do this. So let me just go look for it rather than just going and going and going. And I also feel that I underestimated the cost emotionally and the cost on your identity, because a big part of running a business, it's not even about the business techniques. It's about who you are as a founder, all the limiting beliefs you have, all the, if you lack confidence, that's going to reflect in what you do. If you're not, yeah, like everything about you basically needs to do a lot of self-therapy and a lot of reflection on who you are as a person, because at the end of the day, you are the only person leading the business. And if it doesn't work, it's because of you. And that means that you have to work on yourself constantly. And I feel this took such an emotional, there was a strong emotional cost that people don't really talk about. They just say, oh yeah, you need a business idea, you need a business plan, go for it. But it's like, actually, wait, work on yourself a little bit, make sure that you are ready for the resilience level you're going to need, for the discipline you're going to need, for be ready that you are going to fail and that is going to maybe make you feel guilt or shame, or like there might be things that you need to process and might be some therapy that you need to do as well. And that's something that people don't talk about enough, that I was completely blind to that. I'm like, let's go. And then it's like, let's go a little bit less. So yeah, this was, as I was saying, like both a very good decision, but also bad decision in terms of how I navigated, particularly the first year. I think this was a critical piece. And yeah, I have lesson for if I do a business again. The good thing is that I have all the tools. Like I can be way faster at marketing. I can be way faster at designing product. I know how to coach. I know how to network in a way that is better for me. So I have all these tools and skills that I've trained that have not given result the first time around, but I can just use them faster in the second time around. And I think be very clear about what I still need to work on as a human being and who are the people I need to be around. These are the lessons I'm taking with me. But yeah, good and bad at the same time. I think it's sometimes like the confusion you get when you make that decision. Sometimes you also get some perks. What else after that? Let me just continue with the career while we had it. And I promise there will be something else afterwards. But yeah, my last career step before right now was to so the business failed financially. I had to find another job. So I went back at job search, and then I ran into this program that is called On Purpose, that is training people to do a career transition. So mid-career, you want to transition towards more social impact or like environmental impact, charities, non-profit, this type of work. And it's basically a program where they take you in for a year, and then you do placements into different organizations, and then you have training and mentoring and coaching. And at the end of the year, you're supposed to be able to find a role in this environment, which I'm still working on. So it's not a direct result. And I was really happy with that because coming from entrepreneurship, I started applying to jobs, and people were either not responding to my resume, or they were also, when I had interviews, I remember I was interviewing for an internal coaching role, and the person basically asked me if I was planning to recreate another coaching business in the future. And I was like, right now I'm just looking for the next job within the company. And she did not believe me, and she just shut down the call and left and never told me if I got the job or not. And it was like basically somebody assuming that because I've been an entrepreneur before, I want to be an entrepreneur again, and therefore I'm not capable of working in a normal environments. And I think partially it's right, but at the time I was looking for real employment, and it was very hard for me to see how to transition back from entrepreneurship to a normal career. I think this is if you're looking for a new business and you want to be a coach and you need a niche, this is a niche. This is where I don't see a lot of people helping people going from entrepreneurship to back to work. It's not done yet. Normal work to entrepreneurship, yes, but the opposite is not. So there is a gap here if you if you want to. And yeah, so I was really struggling with that, and I saw this program, as I was saying, is a career transition. So I was like, okay, I'm interested to do work that is more purposeful, as I was saying. I'm very interested with working with good people, where there is good culture, where I can make a direct impact, and social impact is like the most direct you can be. So I was like, okay, that seems cool, and then it's a career transition, so I can build the experience, and I can go apply to roles again, and I will find something. And it's a very actually selective program. Like, I don't know how many interviews they had, but we were actually like selecting like 16 people on like more than 300 applications or something. So it's very selective, and I was like, cool, I got in. I'm very happy. I'm very proud. I'm gonna spend my year with quality people. And yeah, unfortunately, I burned out very quickly, and I was treated very poorly by the core team and by some of the people from my cohort in ways that actually led to me losing completely my confidence, to trauma as well that I'm still processing. And importantly, I realized in this program that I was not really learning much, because a lot of the trainings we were getting were, some of them were interesting, and that I got like one or two tools that I can use, but the rest of it was very repetitive compared to what we were doing in the placement. It was like maybe something that is good for general knowledge, but you don't actually implement it, so you don't really remember it. And the placement themselves, like the task I've been doing, I could have done them directly from entrepreneurship to that. I was already qualified, so I did not need this career transition phase. And that comes back to what I was saying earlier to the account management trainee program. It's like sometimes I underestimate the skill that I already have, and I forget to be confident about it, and to just go for roles that maybe feel more senior, but actually I have already all the skills and I could do them very well, and I could be way better paid and I can avoid the trauma and being part of unhealthy communities that are making me feel that I don't matter and that I don't exist. And yeah, so this was an experience that I regretted, both because of the way I was treated that created so much issues, and I still have to process. So there are still emotional consequences and psychological consequences that I could have avoided. Even though they show me that I'm a resilient person, they show me that I'm good at communicating, they show me that I'm setting boundaries, but I still need training on setting them and feeling good about it, and just embracing who I am as a person and not apologizing for myself and for my needs as well. But yeah, if I look back, I could have done it without that. I also do not necessarily have more understanding about the things I want to do next, because the role I was doing were already like showing me that I can already do all the jobs. So it's like, okay, I'm still left with the same questions. Now I do have some experience, I have some references of people I can contact, but even there was quite a disappointment, even in terms of network, because I was treated so poorly that I did not really spend a lot of time connecting with people because I was not capable of it. So I thought that I was going to have a network I can contact with to find a job, and it's not the case at this point. So lots of disappointment in there. Lots of yeah. Also, I learned a bit of red flags for work as well, because some of the leadership team were really like dismissive in their communication, were really expecting you to say yes to everything and to basically sacrifice yourself for the good of the group. And there was a lot of like kind of wrong messaging around this that also showed me more like the dark side of social impact, where sometimes people are like, they think that they have to give everything that they have to be generous in the world, and it's like, no, it's not how you really do impact. You do impact by taking care of yourself, and then you can give what you have, and then you are doing real impact. And I feel it basically reinforced a lot of the things that I had learned through entrepreneurship, through coaching as well, that actually did not realize I believe so strongly, but because I was given that reality that did not match with who I was, it kind of reinforced that. It broke it a little bit, because when you're constantly having somebody telling you that you're a problem or that you're not fitting in a specific community, it will impact your confidence for sure. But there is also like, oh, now I'm clear about the things that I actually believe about life, or the way to do work, and what I need for communication, for healthy communities as well. So it gave me a lot of information. I have a better understanding of red flags. I know I'm resilient. I know I'm strong. And yeah, I know I can figure things out, but it was a high cost for, compared to the promise I had as well. So I've also learned to detach a little bit from my career in general. Like, the next step is going to be what it is, and if I find a good team and I feel some sense of purpose, and I can use skills I already have and I can feel confident about it, then I'm already one step further, and that kind of reframe a little bit the job search as well. So some lesson here, very hard, still in process, so a bit different. And the last big mistake I would say is, it's a mistake I've done a few times, is to stay too long in some relationships, particularly friendships, I would say, in the workplace, definitely. So becoming friends with your boss or things like that, or your colleague who you work with every single day of the week. I had a bad experience with that in the past. I had a recent bad experience like 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago. Um, and it went really bad. Like, we were really friends, and then one day the guy decided to stop to stop being friends. Did not tell me. We were still working together, so it was very awkward. It gave me so much anxiety to show up at work and having to kind of navigate these behaviors that I left with PTSD that I had to deal with, like physical PTSD. Like, if I was going in the street, I was scared I was going to run into him, which was very, very strong. I had a lot of depression, a lot of basically heartbreak from that as well. But it was a kind of very strange outbreak, because I felt it was good. It was like, there were so many times where I felt lonely around this person. There's so many times I did not feel listened to. So many times where I was already like, able to see the limits of who he is as a person and what he's currently doing in his life and his level of maturity and all these things. But I still decided to still be friends with him. Like, I had occasions to remove myself from it, and or at least to resize the relationship in a way that would work still, but would not be attached too much. And I feel I did not do this. I don't know why I did not do this. I think some of the work I had to do afterwards was to think about this, because I realized I had multiple times this happening in my life at different levels, but it's always like, it's like, why am I letting people like this in my life? And then I spend a year and a half recovering. In that case, in other cases, it was a bit shorter, but it's still a very hard situation, and I really had to take a good look in the mirror at that time. It was like a proper breakdown, like, proper nervous breakdown. But then I was also seeing like, okay, I'm just breaking what I believe about myself in terms of relationship. I also had to think about, is it because I'm too lonely? Is it because this is convenient because we are working at the same place? What are the red flags that I seem to be ignoring? And why am I ignoring them? What are my own red flags as well? So I did a lot of shadow work as well, a lot of reflection on what I tolerate from other people, but also what I should not tolerate from me and what I need to work on as well, because I think it's important when you're in these situations. You might not be the person creating problems or treating the other person poorly, but there is a point where you also enable that in some way, and having the, just the awareness of that and the maturity to say, hey, actually, I was also in fault there, or these are the patterns that I see repeating in my life over and over again. And okay, they seem to be something I need to work in, because this pattern has happened already 2 or 3 times and it leads to the same results. And I felt the same way. So let me work on that and change these things. And yeah, this was really, really hard. I would say probably one of the hardest depression I had in my life. Even it wasn't burnout. It was really like I was just sad all the time. And I could see that it was breaking me completely, but it's creating a blank page where I can do new things with the people coming after that. And I felt it was kind of liberating, but also a lot of really hard work, a lot of depression, a lot of like rumination as well, which is normal because my brain is on the autism spectrum, so it tends to happen. But I would say, talking about it today, I realized I haven't thought about these people for so long, and it's like, if you had told me like 3 years ago, I would forget them, or at least I could talk about them without being like completely broken. It's like, is it true? Okay. Did this happen? Yeah, it happened. Okay. But I think it's a good sign, that you obviously can forget. Obviously, the hardest outbreaks are usually around people, but then you can still move on, and you can still find yourself again, and you can learn something, and you can transform yourself into something better. So I think this was a lot of like lessons of just facing yourself in the mirror and taking responsibility, and also not taking responsibility for other people, and just allowing people to not be perfect or to be at a different stage of your life and still be able to appreciate them, but not giving them as much attention. I think I have a lot of work to do on that, on the attachment piece, and I would not have noticed that if I had not been in this situation. So yeah, like sometimes the universe gives you multiple attempts of showing you the same lesson, and at some point the lesson is so strong and so in your face that you have to take it. And yeah, that was one of these moments. So bad decision to be friends with my boss at work, and particularly with somebody who was not at the level of maturity that I should have accepted at all. And yeah, learn the lesson, doing better, hopefully trying to bring more quality people and trying to also be the person who can attract these quality people and that they can also see that I'm a quality person. So yeah, different lesson. So yeah. Yeah, that was it for today. These are the most important things I think that really shaped me professionally, but also relationship-wise. I'm sure there are more things I've done, but I feel that that's enough for today. And that's the one that I can really say, yeah, they changed the way that I'm navigating my choices for career, my choices for people, and trying to keep very close, because I know that if I forget this, then I'm gonna keep making bad decisions. So it's something I use nowadays when I'm thinking about roles, I'm thinking about places. I'm like, okay, what do I need to check? What are the red flags that I missed the last times, or the question I did not ask enough? And when I ended up doing the thing, actually I realized this was way more important than I give it credit for. And just keeping that as a, I'm smarter now because I've made all these bad decisions. Again, bad decisions in bracket, because at the end of the day, they were just decisions and you have to deal with the consequences. But yeah, I hope that was inspiring for you. If you have some big decision moment that you think shaped you, share them in the comment, because I also want to hear your stories. We're very interesting. And I'm kind of excited for my next bad decision. It's a weird thing to say, but I'm really looking forward to what's going to be the next thing I do professionally or with people, and to kind of figure out on the way, was it a good decision or a bad decision? And to just be ready to accept whatever it is. Maybe it's going to be a gift, maybe it's going to be painful but necessary, but at the end of the day, it will still be a decision. I know I can handle it, I know I can figure things out, and I know I will learn something, whatever way, or I will get the best job or the best relationship possible, and I'm going to be so happy. So, there is nothing to lose there in making decisions, even the bad ones. You get either what you wanted or you get what you need, and then you can go and continue tweaking things around until you get what you want. So no regrets at all for these decisions. And yeah, if you're also wondering why I'm doing this video, is because I made a decision that I still don't know if it's a bad one or a good one, to give myself the challenge to do daily videos on YouTube until I turn 40. And today is day number 36, so we have 44 more days to go. I'm running through my life. I'm thinking about all the lessons I've learned, all the things I want to carry with me as I move forward, all the things I want to leave behind. And yeah, if you want to follow the journey, if you're also somebody who is trying to reinvent yourself and change your life and build the life that is maybe way different than what you imagine, but you want to be out there and be courageous and have people who are doing the same thing and are also a little bit in the messy middle where they are still processing, this channel is for you. You can sign down below, subscribe. There is a button somewhere, and I see you tomorrow for another video.